So welcome everyone to this feature talk. So I'll give a brief bio background on Chengqian here. So Chengqian has a master's degree in economics and quantitative economics from the Texas A&M University. He currently works as a senior statistical programmer at Novartis and leads the SAS to R migration for the Novartis Shanghai programmers. He's interested in R, Vue, JavaScript, Python, and Shell. So today he will speak on the topic titled Take It, Build It, and Own It, which is on Novartis' transformative journey from SAS to R. So back to you, Chengqian.
Yes, thank you, Steven. So, hello, everyone. It's lunchtime in the time zone of GMT plus 8, right? Hope my topic can serve as an appetizer for you. My slide is Take It, Build It, and Own It. I would like to share the journey to R at our programmer team from my own experience. Although Novartis is not at the forefront, we have been moving firmly to catch up. So this is today's agenda. And we all know that R's popularity in pharma didn't just start in the past couple of years. I have prepared an overview of the pharma R packages. The development of R packages has been gradually happening and coming to fruition since 2017. Before 2017, the pharma industry didn't have any specialized packages. However, with the industry's collective efforts, so far, our packages have covered end-to-end submission process, including metadata, SDTM, ADAM, reporting, and validation rules. So about myself, I joined Novartis in July 2020 with a background in finance and econometrics. Just being a pure SAS programmer in clinical trial was not enough for me. I've learned several open source technologies and modern languages, such as R, Python, Vue front-end framework, and database. I co-led Novartis' transition from SAS to R. Now, you might wonder why I have chosen this presentation title, Take It, Build It, and Own It. In our journey to R, I have realized these three stages are crucial, whether in an individual's learning process or an organization's path towards new technology. I framed a learning curve. Initially, from a zero knowledge stage, one has to take it first, accumulating knowledge like trainings, learnings, and adoption of open source materials. After that, the next step is to build something using the new technology. Ultimately, one reaches a stage where they can own it. Then they can contribute to the open source community. If we only take in the knowledge and do nothing with it, it is bound to be forgotten gradually. Now, I would like to share a story about the first R training after I joined Novartis. In September 2020, 2 months after I joined, the trend of R was very hot. My line manager talked to me. She said, "Since you have studied R at university, why don't you lead the R training for Shanghai programmers?" Her statement can be likened to the game NPC saying, "Now that you've finished all the game tutorial, it's time for you to challenge the ultimate demon." At that time, although I had studied and used R before, I didn't have any experience in employing it for clinical trials. But then I realized my peers were all SAS programmers. Who else had the experience of using R for clinical trials? If there's something that I'm not familiar with, I could invest some time learning it myself and then share the knowledge with everyone. Therefore, after 3 seconds of thinking, I agreed to lead the training. Then I prepared about 10 training sessions, including Televerse, Markdown, Shiny, and Flex Dashboard. This round of training ends after half a year. After this training, some of us continue to the second stage, build it. We have a Git repository for stat programming. In this repo, we created RQC template programs by domain. By setting the parameters of each code, parameters can apply the template program in their own studies. Till now, half of the safety domains are ready. Moreover, we joined the Admiral working group and tested some of the functions. We tried some reporting packages like GT, R2RTF, Reporter, and Hux table, and built a solution for TFL generation with R. Now we can create outputs with the same layout as SAS. We also created some Shiny apps to improve daily work efficiency. For example, a study compound dashboard to load all the study data within one compound and create a dashboard based on statistics. And also a spreadsheet compare tool to compare spreadsheets and mark off the differences. This tool was designed for data managers to compare their working Excel sheets. And this one is a deliverable tracker to manage study deliverables online. With the help of this tracker, trial programmers are able to edit the deliverables and manage the assignments among supporting programmers. And this is a TDM builder. This tool is to auto-generate trial design models. By simply uploading study protocol and specification documents, the trial design model datasets will be generated automatically. It saves manual work of trial programmers by more than 80%. However, after all the building it stages, we realized that we fell behind some of the pioneers. After we saw the Teal framework and some other awesome frameworks, I feel that the Shiny apps that I have developed are like children's toys. None of us are full-time art developer. If I must build a Shiny framework like Teal from the very beginning, it will be like facing the real ultimate demon. After some internal discussions, our strategy was like, we need to take it first. Thus, we took it again and built it to meet our own needs. First, we created a data connector to fetch study data from our file server. Then we deployed and customized some of the TO modules to satisfy the needs of ad hoc analysis and exploratory analysis. Much thanks to the TO developer team, we are standing on the shoulders of giants. Well, part of us have been leveraging R to build something. Others, who are primarily SAS programmers, had limited opportunities to use R since our initial round of training. We determined it was time for a second round of R training. Consequently, we developed an R-based handbook for training purpose and engaged over 20 trainers in this process. These experts offer their unique strengths, not only contributing their expertise to the creation of the material, but also conduct training sessions. Unlike the first round, we incorporated both in-class and out-of-class exercises and formed small groups among trainees for mutual support and assistance. So far, we have finished 30 training sessions, and more sessions are to follow. Their application of R in clinical trials further proved that the most effective mastery of R can only be achieved through a combined approach of take it and build it. Before this training, we also had some third-party trainings, Training programs can take the form of online and in-class sessions. However, after experiencing all the training varieties, we realized exercises reinforce knowledge. Rather than simply disseminating information, learning is best absorbed through hands-on practice. In order to put our learnings into practice and get involved in the build it stage, we decided to implement R for QC programs in a clinical trial. As we began, examples of successful R submissions were not yet within our knowledge, and we lacked internal references for our studies and programs. So we started from scratch, establishing our R environments, crafting a universally applicable setup program for each study, and setting environment variables, and establishing relative paths for every directory. It's much like SAS lab names. And for statistical models like MMRM, joint modeling, and negative binomial regression, we closely collaborated with our statisticians and built our solutions for the models. Subsequently, from datasets to preparing the submission package, every step of the way, we created functions to optimize the process. For instance, we wrote functions for reading SDTM SUPP, handling data cutoff, and converting DTC data formats. During the step of validating outputs, we replicated the rounding process of R based on SAS results, developed the functions to calculate various statistics, and created functions for reading RTF documents. We also customized the arsenal for our use and devised functions for comparing datasets between develop side and the QC side. Overall, we have developed dozens of functions using pure Tidyverse and base R. Moving forward, in future studies implementing R, we will also intend to explore using Admiral functions for development side datasets and using reporting packages to generate RTF files. Therefore, double-side R becomes possible. Actually, during the ticket and build it stage, we heavily relied on open source resources. However, using them brought numerous pain points. First, during the deployment of some applications, it was necessary to install a lot of dependent packages, many of which had specific version requirements and were incompatible with older versions. The pre-installed packages on our own server are mostly older versions. Therefore, we need to manually install newer versions. Compounding the problem, firewalls often cause installation issues, forcing us to resort to GitHub install methods or direct downloading of zip files. Once the packages were installed, we had to ensure that the packages were invoked from the updated versions. Otherwise, problems would arise. Second, different companies have different standards. For instance, while deploying the TEAL framework, we need to modify some module source codes to align with the Novartis standard. Also, when using packages to generate RTF, a large amount of customizations was needed to ensure the outputs fitted our standards. Third, issues arose with third-party open sourcing, with partial open sourcing, especially for highly automated open source projects like our Nest framework. This demanded that we design our own customized solutions.
Chengqian,
Naturally,
sorry to interject. We have about 4 minutes left, so we should leave
okay,
some
I
time
will
for
be quick and
questions.
keep it short.
Thank
And
you.
naturally, different people encounter different pain points. Sometimes we also need assistance from the developers. So during this journey, some of our problems were solved by reading issues on GitHub. I believe that we can finally own it with the help of actively contributing to the open source community. This year, a Fields working group chemists invited us to contribute. The goal of this project is to identify conflicting results between software and to help ease the transitions to new knowledges by providing comparison and explanations. While some models have indeed been explored, it still poses a challenge to provide substantial assistance to those seeking to transition from SAS to R. Taking inspiration from the open source spirit of our pioneers, we started a chemist hackathon. During this hackathon, we contributed several model codes, such as Wilcoxon sum, Friedman test, and multiple imputation of linear regression, and improved some of the existing parts based on our own experience. This hackathon ends in 2 weeks, but we are still trying to fix some open issues. We believe owning it is a long-term process. Apart from that, we are also eager to share our learnings and experience after our submissions in the future. We are aware that our efforts may not yet measure up to some industry leaders. If the leaders were to share their experience, the audience will be like, oh, amazing, they are so great. But the aim of my talk today is to share the experience of our team that is still catching up, demonstrating how we are keeping pace with the trend of R. I think many companies are in a similar stage as us. By sharing our journey, we hope to inspire one another, especially for those who just started. Of course, we look forward to becoming active contributors to the open source community in the future. Thanks, everyone. Please feel free to raise questions. We welcome everyone to exchange their experience and resources with us. That's all for today's presentation.
Thank you very much, Chengqian. I have quite a number of questions for this very interesting talk, but maybe we should open to the audience first. Yeah, feel free to ask if you have
Are
any
you going
questions
to share the
for
slides?
Chengqian.
Yes, of course, after this presentation.
Okay, so we have the approval now to share that.
So any other questions?
So maybe we give them a bit more time, but in the meantime, maybe I can yeah, ask one of my own. So I'm wondering,
Sure.
Chengqian, you work with traditionally SAS programmers, right?
Yes.
How do you convince them, especially the hardcore SAS programmers, to embrace or transition to R? Because for some of them, they could have worked for 10, 20 years just in SAS, and they will be probably quite resistant to, because for them, they are experts already, they can do everything in SAS. They don't see the need to actually, completely change how they do programming.
Actually, I think there are two main reasons for them. The first one, I think transition from SAS to R is a trend, and all of the companies must go over this trend to transit from SAS to R. And also the health authorities like FDA, they I think they would like to accept our submissions because the Novo Nordisk has already submitted their R projects. And the second reason maybe it's not that hard to transit from SAS to R. Also, we always use data step and proc step in SAS, and we never use the open code in R to program. But actually, we have so many open source materials, and we have TedWords, we have instructions, and we have our trainings within Novartis. And we also developed so many exercises for them. So it's not that hard to transit from SAS to R.
Okay. Yes, I agree. I think
Yes.
the same case for me. All right.
How do you deal with your colleagues' complex installation process of system library, R tools, and R package? Okay, yes. If you need a package for long term, we need to go to our background IT colleagues to ask for help, and they will install the specific version packages for us. And if you want to install a temporary packages, we need to we have instructions for all of the colleagues. Sometimes we need to go to the GitHub to install specific versions, and sometimes we use the Brave install method, and it's our package to manage the temporary package.
Yeah, that sounds very similar to many other organizations that are implementing R environment. So it needs to be, well, managed centrally, and typically IT is the one that does this centrally bookkeeping, let's say, in terms of
Yes.
validating the packages and what's considered
And
acceptable, what's
another point
considered
is that
temporary.
sorry.
Yeah, go
We
ahead.
can use RENV to manage these packages. Once if someone already installed the projects in their own local directory, and they can use RENV to record all the packages, all the versions, and after that they can share to other colleagues so that they will use the RENV package to manage the packages and install all the packages on their own local environment.
Yes, that's right. RENV, well, you can install directly into your RENV environment. So yeah, it's I think it's considered safer to then try out some of the more cutting edge packages that have yet to be validated. Any other questions for Chengqian? If not, maybe I can throw one more since this is such an interesting topic. Um, Where do you see the weighting for SAS and R for clinical trial development at steady state?
Uh, Actually, it's uh, can you explain the question again?
Okay, sure. So I think right now, I think even though we are still developing tools for R, and R is getting more and more recognition and acceptance, especially since Novo Nordisk has submitted a package fully in R, but it's still predominantly done in SAS for clinical trials worldwide. So I'm just wondering, what's your take on what will be the weighting at steady state, which means at what point will they stabilize?
Okay.
Because I still think SAS is still the dominant software, but maybe do you think they will be more balanced out in future, or I will completely, overtake it at some point?
For now, for our Pioneer R packages, for our Pioneer R submissions, we will use R only for QC, and about 90% of QC programs will implement R, and especially for the safety programs, and more than half of the advocacy programs. And I think in the future there will be more programs, especially for the development side. we now have Admiral packages and some reporting packages like GT or R2RTF or the reporting in SASE. Actually, SASE is also a very interesting package in R. And I think in the future, most of the programs will be R-based, and only some like complex models will use SAS. But it will still need some time for the industry to adapt to the R trend.
Yep, indeed.
I think I got another question.
Yes.
How do you create a supportive environment where new users can feel comfortable asking for help? As I have shown before, we have our book. In this our book, we can get all the materials in our training sessions. And apart from the our book, we also have OneNote space for everyone to raise their questions. And once they have asked any questions, all of our trainings will go over these questions and provide our answers. And also, we have other ways. Actually, we have formed the learning group among trainees, like 4 to 5 people in a group, and they can help each other and resolve the issues of each other. And each time we got exercise for them to finish, they will share their exercise code within their own group and review each other's code. I think this process benefit a lot for everyone to learn R. Although we will have future training sessions, the trainees for now can also be the trainers in the future. So after that, they can share their knowledge and share their learning process in R. It's also an interesting way to learn R and for them to share their knowledge and share their feelings.
That's right. I think we are still all learning since there are so many different components that built the entire submission package. So a big thank you to Chengqian for sharing your thoughts today, and we will be in touch with you on the slides. Thank you to all the attendees, and yeah, we will see you in the next session.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.